Alrighty, I'm going to place my hands on my heart, taking that deep breath of love and gratitude. So grateful for this time to come together, to be the two or more gathered in the name and the nature of love. Grateful for our devotion to being a loving presence in this world, a loving presence for ourselves. Grateful for our willingness to shine away any blocks to love, heal them back to the root source, to know that healing is happening here and now for each and every one of us, and that our healing heals all humanity. We're grateful for all of our earthly and heavenly helpers. We ask that they join us now, surrounding and supporting us, supporting the technology that we get to use to come together each week, loving and blessing us in each and every area of our life and every moment of our days. We're so grateful that we get to share those blessings and the awakening awareness that we have within us with everyone, because we are one with them. In grace and gratitude, we let it be, and so it is. Amen.
Amen.
So we're in chapter 18, section 4, the little willingness. And yeah, this was jam-packed. I know Lesley said she loved this section. She wrote when I posted the reminder. Yeah, I have so many notes in here, I don't even really know where to begin. So would anybody else like to start sharing with what they got? Lesley, go ahead, and then Linda.
Hello, everyone. I'm outside, so I hope you can hear me okay. I just thought this section was really comforting because it made the holy instant seem so easy. Seemed very simple and very easy. I'm just going to read some of the notes I wrote throughout. Not really notes, it's more like I copied what the text said, but starting with paragraph 1, sentence 1. The holy instant is the result of my determination to be holy. I prepare my mind for it only to the extent of recognizing that I want it above all else. So that was just telling me that. Same with peace. You've got to want peace more than you want anything else. It has to be your intention, and you have to do something to remind yourself. It is not necessary that I do. It is not necessary that I do more. Actually, it is necessary that I not do more. And I like that it's not going to be this big burdensome thing. The Holy Spirit asks but little. And this is all from paragraph 1. I realize that I need do so little that enables him to give so much. Moving on to paragraph 2, the only thing I need to trust is my willingness. The miracle of the holy instant lies in my willingness to let it be what it is. In my willingness also lies, in my willingness lies also my acceptance of myself as I was meant to be. And I just love this section because it was, I can be willing. If all I need to do is be willing, I can do that. There's a lot of things I can't do, but I can be willing. So I just found myself this week just saying, just randomly, I'm willing to have a holy instant. I'm willing to be with the Holy Spirit. I'm willing to have a holy instant. And I just like that because it made it seem so easy. My only question is, okay, so what exactly is a holy instant? and to me, I think a holy instant, isn't that when we feel we're at one with everything? That's when we realize that we're not separate from God. Exactly. And I admit I've had a very peaceful week. So maybe it was because I said that so many times, maybe not, but I just wondered of anybody else's input about what a holy instant was.
Yeah, the holy instant for me is anytime I'm getting out of the way and allowing Holy Spirit to guide me, because the ego wants to make things complicated.
Right.
And,
Right.
you know, if we just get out of the way and say, I'm having a holy instant,
Hmm.
then we're being led and guided.
Right. And I think that it really works just to say that willingness, because I went to a party on Sunday and I'm not a big party person. I much prefer one-on-one communication. And I actually had a decent time. And I think I was because I partnered up, I was willing, and it was just fine. So I was very grateful.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lesley. Linda, and then Carla.
Okay. Am I unmuted? Yes. So the first sentence that really grabbed me was in paragraph 2, sentence 8. And it talks about the miracle of the holy instant lies in your willingness to let it be what it is. And to be continued over in 3, your difficulty, in paragraph 3, sentence 3, your difficulty with the holy instant arises from your fixed conviction that you are not worthy of it. So this whole notion of just get out of the way, stop doing. I need do nothing really. Stop efforting. Stop projecting out like you have not arrived. You are already there. And I was reminded of, I'm a 26-year 12-stepper of various rooms. And, you know, the whole, as I was reading this, I was like hearkening back to, I don't know if anybody else is familiar with the process of the 12 steps, but, you know, steps 4 and 5 is about inventory taking. And it's like that, waiting until you got it all figured out before you do it. You know what I mean? People get stuck in that. I'm talking about me, of course. You know, it took me 2 years before I thought, well, you're not going to get there unless you like, this is the delivery mechanism. You know, you got to do it to get over there. So anyway, the other part, the ending, oh my gosh. You know, the whole belief in paragraph 8, sentence 3, the whole belief in orders of difficulty and miracles is centered on this. Everything God wills is not only possible, but has already happened. And that is why the past has gone. It never happened in reality, only in the mind which thought it did. Is its undoing needful. So we're already there. I can't blow it. Relax. I'm in a nightmare, remember? It's already been resolved. Be happy. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Linda. Go ahead, Carla.
Well, I was going to share the same line that you read. The miracle of a holy instant lies in your willingness to let it be what it is. And what means to me is that the holy instant is always happening, really. And that when we think something should be different, that's what's saying, let it be what it is. And when we think, oh, I just hit the garage door, or my house just burned down, oh, I just lost my job, or, that is the block. We're blocking the goodness of God that's flowing to us. I think I underlined willingness in this section. I think it was like 10 times. And there's a couple willing, not willingness, but I'm sure, I think I've shared this before, that I know before I share, I'll say, willingness, it's not everything, but it's the beginning of everything. And everything is always beginning. It's always beginning. And so I just wanted to share a line I was told in a dream like 3 years ago. Now, I don't remember the dream, but I wrote this down and I memorized it. Your healing is only limited by your willingness. So grow your willingness until you are fully healed. And so I think I'm willing, and then I realized there's even more willingness. And I think in the course it talks about here, the little willingness, little willingness. And then later on it talks about, great willingness or something like that. And then in the course of love, it says total willingness, total. And I'm like, and then I judge the word total. Oh, I can't, that's the block. You let it be what it is. Okay, it says total. Okay, it says total. I'm willing to go there. I'm willing to go there. So, and I want to share in paragraph 5, that little thing that in italics or something, which is line 12. I need add nothing to his plan. His plan, the script is written, yet our choices, it's like we don't have to choose just one thing. It's whatever we choose, that opens up a whole new part of the script or where we go to. It doesn't matter. We can't fail. We can't fail. And we just choose. And then whatever our choice is, I was told, just choose and then let it go. It's like the choices are our learning, our growth. Yeah, it's the Holy Instant, could be. And it's, so that's all. That's all I share. Thanks.
Thank you, Carla.
Just as people were talking, I had this idea of the Holy Instant. I hadn't thought of it this way before, but when I'm reading the text, or not necessarily this text, but any text, but I'll talk about this text right now, I have these moments where it's like, oh, I get it. I feel it. I mean, it's visceral. I can feel it in my body, and, it's like this connection. And then it's fleeting. It kind of goes. But I just think that now, when I think about that feeling, I think that is the Holy Instant.
Yes, absolutely. It's a beautiful example, Deborah. Thank you. Yeah, it's when we feel like that godly peace is completely descended on us.
And it's not like I can go in there and make it happen. I mean, it just kind of happens as I'm reading. Something comes together. I guess everything comes together, and I feel that. But I never thought of that as the Holy Instant before.
Yeah. Yeah, because when we're trying to make it happen, because we are trying to make it happen. It's our egos are in the way. Yeah, absolutely. Who else would like to share? Suzanne, and then Penelope.
I just want to say that we are so incredibly conditioned to believe that nothing's going to happen unless I make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And unraveling that is an ongoing awareness, reminder system. And there's a part of us that doesn't believe it, like in here. It's, you don't need to do anything more. That's really hard to grasp. And
Mm-hmm.
you really got to work with that one. Because of that conditioning our whole lives, the whole setup, the whole ego setup. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
are you willing to make it easy?
Yeah. Are you willing to give it over?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the part that gets in my way so often. That's one of the things that I put in my contract this year is having it be easy. Because he says in paragraph 8, forget not that it has been your decision to make everything that is natural and easy for you impossible. That's what we decided to do. We're nuts. So yeah, I'm ready to make it easy, and that's part of my contract this year. That's why I think things come up the way that they do, because then I get opportunities to see where it's really starting to unfold in my life. Yeah, thank you, Suzanne. Penelope.
Thank you. What came into my mind when at one point Carla just said, we can't fail, was no, but we can prolong, and we can prolong the suffering. Yeah, this is really comforting for me, this entire reading. I mean, I was first homed in on the very first paragraph. And I was grateful, actually. I did come to a place of willingness. I don't know when it exactly took place. I kind of have been struggling this past week in my attempts to heal or to transform my relationship with my sister into a holy relationship. And about a week ago, I suspected I was probably in some kind of grief, but I was still doing forgiveness work. And when I was doing the forgiveness work, yes, I was healing whatever I was doing the forgiveness work on. And yet afterwards, I just was not coming to that place of peace. And so I was really getting into my head about what else can I do? Why am I not getting this peace? And there was still this theme running of just feeling like a complete failure. So, for instance, there's this line in paragraph 3, line 5. God did not create his dwelling place unworthy. Just even the mere fact that I was still seeing myself as being a failure was the unworthiness. And I continue to do the prayer work. It's in my prayer box. I've got another special prayer that I'm saying. I've started a divine experiment. I am, I've shared it in groups. And then finally something shifted last night. I was sharing about it in a mastery circle, and there was still a lot of sadness coming up, and I still wasn't realizing. And then somewhere, somehow, it felt like from last night to this morning, something must have shifted. And at some point, there was that kind of letting go and just surrendering and saying, and I've kept saying all week, I have no idea what this is for. And yet somehow, and I guess it was that letting go of just, I can't do this. And I'm not willing to keep living with this any longer. This has got to, I've got to just hand this over, just give it up. I'm not willing to live like this anymore. I'm not willing to keep going over and over it. I'm not willing to keep unpicking it. This is not helpful. And just, something shifted. I did do another forgiveness letter this morning, and something and I came back to that place of peace. And it's kind of beautiful, because when I only started reading this about an hour or so ago, is this the way I do it. And it was really nice just to recognize, that holy instant, just coming back to peace was a holy instant. And I'm just trusting I've learned from this, and I'll let go a bit sooner and recognize much quicker that the reason why I was struggling is I have been in grief all week. And so I was in and out of, I wasn't even recognizing that. I was just seeing the grief as being the sadness and the sorrow, and it's not the sad, it's also the hurt and the anger is part of the grief. And finally I got it, so I reached there. Thank you.
Yay. That's wonderful. And I mean, I can like feel how your heart has been lightened, that you recognize that there still may be some residual grief there, and some residual feelings of unworthiness there, but that it's lightening up, that you're seeing how the truth is that that's not true, that that's not true. And it's so, the cool thing is, sometimes it hits you and you don't even realize it, that you've had that healing. Because like earlier this week, and what made me think about it in what we read was in paragraph 6, where he says, remember, you made the guilt, and your plan for the escape from guilt has been to bring atonement to it and make salvation fearful. And it is only fear that you will add if you prepare yourself for love. So, we're doing all of these things thinking that we're lining up for, when we get to step in front of God and say, am I worthy of your love? When, he's already said, you don't have to do anything. I said you were worthy. You never were unworthy in my eyes. And I had this, this weekend, my sister texted me that we've been having challenges with my mom. As her kidney failure is progressing, she's having some incontinence problems. And so the woman that is helping us with caregiving has been making her wear the adult diapers, and she hates them. She hates them. She feels like she's losing control of her life. And so she's been verbalizing this to my sister. And when she went there on Friday morning to get her meds, my mom apparently had a temper tantrum sometime during the night and like threw the adult diapers all over the floor. And my sister couldn't figure out like which ones were dirty and which ones were clean. And, we explained to her that the reason why we're making her wear them is not because we don't want to clean up her messes, not because we're trying to punish her for having accidents, but she lives alone. So if we are not there and she has an accident and there's a puddle of pee on the floor and she slips and falls on it, she could really hurt herself, and nobody would be there to know that. So we're trying to explain that to her, but because her memory is so bad, she forgets like 5 minutes later, and you have to explain it to her again. And then later in the weekend, my sister texted me something about how mom's going to run out of money to continue to pay Carrie, our caregiver, for the number of hours that she's been working for these past couple years. And my sister's planning on retiring like October, November. And she said something like, this is not how I envision my retirement, but it looks like I'll be spending a lot more time with mom. And I realized how much I had healed, because my normal response would have been to say, don't worry, we can do it together. But I just the end of last year started stepping back from taking care of my mom, because I've been a caregiver for over 10 years now, off and on between my husband and my mom. And my physical form is showing the challenges of my resistance and reluctance to that, and my overgiving, like I need to take care of myself, is basically what I'm saying. So normally I would have just jumped in and said, I'll be there with you to help you through it. But what I said to her was, I'm in pain a lot of the time. My digestion is so messed up, and it's because I've been caregiving for so long. So my feeling is, spend every last penny that my mother has to pay for Carrie as many hours as we can. And if we have to, do a reverse mortgage to continue to pay for Carrie while my mom's still on the planet. Because I prefer my sister not to have to go through what I'm dealing with, you know? So, but what I'm saying is like, it took me a few hours or maybe even a day or two to realize, wow, that was probably not the response that my sister was expecting from me. And that's really not the response that I would have expected from myself just a few months ago, let alone a few years ago. I would have just said, I'll just do it until I die to help out. And I can't. So I won't. And I'm finally willing to realize that I've healed that part of me that feels like I have to validate my existence by giving and giving and giving. And it snuck up on me. So Penelope, it's happening for you too. It's happening for all of us. Thank you for letting me share that. Carla.
Okay, yeah. You know what came to my mind when you were speaking about that you're willing to not be willing to hurt yourself, you know, further. So, except I don't know why I also raised said in the 8th chapter, 8th paragraph that I think you're reading out from what. If in the second line, if you believe the holy instant is difficult for you, it is because you become the arbiter of what is possible and remain unwilling to give place to one who knows. And I remember when I made so many wellness statements. Okay, I think this is what, there's a line I underlined on the second paragraph. That, the second line, fifth line, sorry, that is why you came. So we came here because we're willing. So anytime it seems like there's unwillingness or resistance or whatever, however it appears, that's because the ego is trying to get our attention by expressing itself as like it's us. That is not true. We are willing. That is why we came. It says right here. Well, maybe not totally, but that is why we came, is why you came. We came here because we are willing. And so anytime the mind says we're not willing, maybe in that moment, I might repeat myself. So if I already told this, I'm just like the Course, is that we're like the cartoons. Have I shared this about the cartoon? We're like the cartoon. Remember the cartoons where there's a devil on one and an angel on the other? So we are the chooser of what thought we align with. We align with ego, we align with unwillingness or unworthiness or resistance or doubt or distrust or any negative, anything less, anything is not love, really, because even doubt doesn't seem, but it's not love. And so we choose which to align with. And I just recognized, I don't know how, really, all I know is when I felt the unwillingness, the ego rearing its head, I made it willing, like, it said, Lesley, you said you're willing, or you said things that supported your week. And I created wellness statements. And then I let it go. I made a willing, I became a little willing. I'm willing to see this differently. I'm willing. And I didn't meditate on it. I didn't pray on it. I didn't focus on it. I gave it to my higher self, and somehow not totally willing yet, but I'm really close, really close. And so I know if it's true for me, it's possible for you. And remember the wellness statement that I shared, Linda, that you just loved, and it's one of my favorite, that I'm willing to consider what actually the I is ego, thought was impossible, is possible, because everything is possible with God. Everything. Nothing is impossible. So that's all. Sure. Thanks.
Thank you, Carla. Lesley.
Linda, I just wanted to acknowledge how far you really have come, because that is amazing that it took you about a day to realize, wow, I didn't jump right in there and offer to save the day, and I didn't feel, hopefully you didn't feel guilty about it. It didn't sound like you did. So that is huge, because that was a real struggle for you. So I just wanted to say kudos, good job. And I know it was painful and a big healing that needed to take place. So I'm so proud of you. Mwah.
Thank you, Lesley. Go ahead, Kathleen.
I was just thinking about that 12-step thing where you make a list of, I can't even remember the word, but from a Course in Miracles perspective, it would be, what are the things that I'm still, stuck in the past about and still believing in dreams of fear. And then I think about that 6-step process that we just learned, it's like a forgiveness lesson, but where you acknowledge that the upset is yours. And then you go back to your childhood and you figure out when you first felt that particular lie, like I'm not important, I'm not seen, I'm stupid, nobody loves me, because that is the group of things that we're living and listening to the rest of our lives. So I just think that 6-step process is really important, to go back and forgive ourselves for the decisions we made about ourselves when we were small, and then to say, and it's not true, and then to say what the truth is, which we are perfect. I'm host to God. I who am host to God am worthy of him. That's pretty big. God, I'm worthy of God. Wow. All right. And all I have to do is be a little bit willing. But anyway, to state the truth and then to say, thank God that is true. Thank God that is true. It's not true what I thought when I was a child. I forgive my little child. I just love chapter 18 so much. I had to keep reading. I'm reading about the happy dream, and I'm reading about the beyond the body, and I'm just like, oh my God, I just was getting it last night. Just was getting it, that we just create these little bodies. They're our dolls, and we create them, so we got to be nice to them. They're our creation, but we absolutely don't want to project anything onto them, because then they suffer and they hurt. And it's so cruel what the ego does, to project this stuff onto our bodies, so that we can prove to our minds. We give our minds the aspects of our bodies so that we can pretend we're separate. Looks like we're separate. We're not all one big body, are we? We're separate bodies. So we give that back to our minds and say, oh, see, our minds are separate. We're so fucked up. We are so insane. But really, we're a great, huge mind that created all these little things sticking down that we call bodies. And we have this big, beautiful mind that's actually back with God. I just love chapter 18 for everything it's telling us, that we don't keep substituting our own plan. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to do anything. If we do anything, all we do is make salvation fearful. It's only fear you will add if you prepare yourself for love. I just got what that means. If we prepare too much, we get scared that it might not happen, or we're not worthy, and we cycle right back like Groundhog Day. Wham, 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 until you get it that we don't need to think very much. We just need to see peace instead of this, like Carla, what you were saying. It just keep coming back to, I want the peace instead of this, and I'm willingness, and to trust my willingness. What's that mean? All we have to do is be a little bit willing, but then we also get to trust it. We're doing it right. Yay, we're doing it right. Don't worry about the shadows, it says in paragraph 2. Trust not your good intentions. They're not enough, but trust implicitly. Trust your willingness, whatever else may enter. Concentrate only on this. Be not disturbed that shadows surround it. That's why you came. If you could come without them, you wouldn't need the holy instant. So yeah, it gets scary every day. I mean, Paul wants to die. He has told me, do not call any more doctors. Don't do anything. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. I want your doctor to prescribe antibiotics. We've never tried antibiotics. I want to try antibiotics. I want to take him to this institute in Miami, you know, where they do juice fasts, and I want to make a plan. Fuck me, running. It's just like so in my face that I don't have to do any of that. It's in my face that I can trust. I can trust God, you know. I don't know. I'm a pretty good planner, like you, Linda. I'm pretty good at make a list. I've been doing it for my mother since I was a tiny child. You know, she couldn't do it, so let me make the lunches and get the kids off to school and clean the house. And look how good I am and how wonderful I am. Oh, my mother used to say, I don't know what I would do without you. Well, it gave me a kind of an inflated view of my own ability to function. Anyway, I just love chapter 18. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Kathleen, for all of that. And yeah, my mom used to say that to me too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I would do without you. Well, you know, I'm here, but maybe not in the capacity that you're expecting me to be, because I can't.
What I found out was that she could function just fine without me, but I had to move away to college. I was terrified to move out of the house and move away to college. I drove home every weekend because I couldn't believe she could survive without me. My dad had died 6 months after my baby brother was born. So there's 4 teenage girls moving out and into their lives, and then a brand new baby, and then my dad dies. I couldn't believe she could function without me, but she did. She did just fine. I'm like, fuck. What was I thinking all these years? I'm not that important. Oh, goody, I'm not that important. Yay.
There you go. Oh, goody, I'm not that important.
Oh, goody, I don't have to do anything for Paul? Right on. It's my birthday today, by the way. I'm
Happy birthday.
68 years old, whatever that means. And yeah, so I'm just doing all these spiritual things today. It's cool.
That's a great way to spend your birthday, Kathleen. Thank you for spending some of it with us.
Oh yeah, I'm so glad I remember. They forget.
And I just want to share this. It's not exactly fitting in, but I've just been going through this thing lately where I'm just craving to know the truth. I just don't want anything but the truth. I don't want any bullshit. I don't want the sidetracking stuff. I just want pure truth. And
yes,
you know, I don't know how to get to that point. I pray about it, but I don't know what else to do.
Yeah, I know Jennifer, she said this many times, but it has helped me so much when I'm at that point that I'm like, I don't even know what to ask for. That's how wrapped up I am in my crap. But she says, if I knew what to ask for, what would I ask for? Holy Spirit, if I knew what to ask for, what would I ask for? Because there is something within us that already knows.
Peace.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's been a great guide for me. Amanda, were you going to share something? That I saw you unmute for a moment.
Yeah. I don't know now. Everybody's saying such wonderful things, and I'm just loving this. Thank you, everyone. Happy birthday, Kathleen. Such good stuff. Okay, so yeah, a lot of people have mentioned this line in this reading that I underlined heavily with bold pen, which was in paragraph 2, line 8, that says, the miracle of the holy instant lies in your willingness to let it be what it is. And right after that, it says, and in your willingness for this lies also your acceptance of yourself as you were meant to be. There's so much in that. It's so simple, and I think I get confused with the willingness. Because it's like we so want to like do. We want to make the willingness happen. How do I be a better willingness? How do I have better willingness? How do I yeah, it's hard to wrap my brain around just being like, the willingness is enough? Like, what do you mean? How do you do that? Like, and I don't want to be complacent, and I don't want to just sit back and pretend nothing's going on either. And so that's where I get confused, I guess. That's where our ego comes in and tries to confuse us, is what I should say, maybe. Because I'm like, wait, but if I just sit here, I'm just sitting here? No. And so then I also get confused. Kathleen, you were talking about how you don't have to do and so much, and you want to do this for Paul, and you want to do that for Paul, and you did this for your mom, and you do that for your mom, and thinking that was divinely inspired, maybe, or whatever. And that's where I get confused too sometimes. I'm like, when do you know that you're having a divinely inspired thought come to you, and or when it's, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, because that's where I get kind of confused. Like, oh, but if maybe I was willing to see the truth, and then it didn't, and then it came in this answer, and then I'm not, I'm thinking that that's my, that's not being willing or something. Does that make sense? Or I have to like squash that, or I just don't know the difference sometimes. And Kathleen, I feel like you want to like answer me, and I want to let you answer me, so go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, the very end of this chapter is I need do nothing. If you just read that like over and over and over and over and over and over, it's not just essential that we do it's essential that we do nothing. And you're right on the right path. Exactly. It's just that it doesn't matter if I hear the answer right or wrong, because the very next second another opportunity comes to ask again and ask again. Like chapter 30, I must ask the wrong question because I do not feel at peace, to ask again another question. I went, what does that mean? Well, the question is like all these questions. How do I be willing to be willing? How do I stop myself from making a plan? It says over and over in here, you have been wrong in thinking it's needful to prepare yourself for him. It's impossible to make arrogant preparations for holiness and not believe it's up to you to establish the conditions for peace. So if we take it over and we start preparing to be holy and preparing for God, and then now it's up to us to establish the conditions for peace. And we don't know how to do that. That's obvious. So I don't think it matters much, Amanda, really what happens if you ask and you don't hear exactly right. I ask all the time, like, should I do this or that? Sometimes I stand up and push me forward for yes, backward for no. You can try that. You can try to get an answer through your body. Some people do a string, but I think it matters more just to trust your willingness and to just trust being the fact that you are joyful and that you are happy. We are. Underneath, I wrote about this years ago. I didn't read the Course of Miracles. That underneath everything, we're already happy, but we're just afraid and ashamed to admit it because somebody else is not happy, or at least it looks like they're not happy. But what do we know about anybody else? What do I know about Paul? Every day when I go in there and I start using my tone of voice to try to control him because I'm scared he's going to die and leave me, and I'm afraid he's not doing his spiritual work, and I want to take him into all these courses and do all this shit. Then I feel like, wait, Kathleen, just failed again. Just failed again. But I don't care that I failed again because I'm learning how to shut up. And I can't shut up very quick, not when it's my partner in the bed in agony. I have to detach from the fact that he's in pain. Linda, even hearing that you have digestive problems, it's like, oh my God, they are the worst. Oh, talk about feeling out of control when your gut is off. Woo. Anyway, so don't worry about it too much. That's all.
Thanks, Kathleen. Yeah, I don't know. It's so, but I care.
Good,
So,
thank you.
because, yeah, I mean, I
Okay.
feel you. That's hard. It's hard to detach from somebody else, and then just trying to figure out whether you're being divinely led when you have thoughts of what you think you could do for them or for yourself or for this situation or whatever it is, but I guess maybe what is attached to that is if it feels right.
Yeah, in your gut.
If it feels right in your gut, like if you don't feel at peace when you're like scrambling to do, then that that's something that's coming up for healing, and that isn't healed necessarily. So I don't know, it's hard. And I also I wanted to say to Linda, you were talking about your mom and all of that, and that's awesome that you are able to feel good about what was necessary for your peace to and that's amazing. And I really had gone through that with my dad too, and I was the only one, I'm the one that lives here by me because I had him moved out here 5 years ago. And I just had so much guilt swirl around that, and I wanted to do, and he became incontinent and I had to do all of that, and he also had battled bladder cancer and had his bladder taken out. So like he stopped taking care of his urostomy bag on the front of his body. So I had to start taking care of that and all of this. And anyway, I did not know what to do, and I just kept trying to do, and all I could do. Then things just kept, what happened is the more I did let go, and I mean, I would get on my knees. I was so freaked out. I got on my knees, like asking for the willingness to know what to do, and just because I couldn't not do anything. I had to do. I mean, so it was like, what do I do? So I had to. And then, just people kept coming to me and saying, do, this, and it was hard to discern sometimes, but I kept getting these certain things. And then it was just like, okay, just the idea that God's imagination is so much bigger than our own is what it came to. It was like, never would have thought of that. Like that's the miracle, like kind of like the miracle was uncovered because I handed it over and let go. And then these opportunities came that I never could have imagined. So, and your sister was willing to go and be all in, and said that she was, and you did not just go, oh, but I'll help you. You were like, oh gosh, that is what I needed. You honored yourself and said, that is what I needed. And thank you. All right. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you both. I know it's part of it too is letting go of the twisted idea that I had about what love looks like. Love looks like, in my twisted egoic thought system that I would do anything to prevent someone that I love from being in any discomfort. But that's not the truth, because the truth is I am trying to control them if that's what I'm doing, because their path is their path.
Yes, yes, yes. Their path is their path.
And it may not be easy for us to,
Respect it.
yeah, to put into practice. But their path is their path. So it's been a long time coming learning that one. And I'm sure I'll still continue to learn from that.
Yeah, wait till we're in diapers.
Exactly.
I used to call them adult underwear when I worked at the nursing homes. Like,
Yeah, they're diapers.
I not to use the word.
I know.
Paul used to yell out the window when we were driving around Eugene, "I'm wearing a diaper." And I'm like, someday you're wearing one.
Oh my God.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yep. Mary Rose, you've had your hand raised for a while, honey. Go ahead. And then Carla.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. Sorry, can you unmute yourself again? I meant to lower your hand and I muted you.
There we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Sorry about that.
Hi, Linda. That's quite all right. It's like life unfolding.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, the conversation is really good. This topic, yes, is definitely of interest to me, of letting go of that ego tenacity of clinging to, the role of being caretaker or warrior, or, thinking that's my role, beyond service of, what Amanda was talking about, of asking, what really is mine to do. And Linda, when you shared about asserting the boundary to your sister, I personally get a lot out of hearing shares like that. People following their guidance, and that includes a lot about your self-care, your own body, your own health. So, gosh, I'm so glad to get here for this, and what you shared, and your ability to follow your guidance and assert it. And there's something else I wanted to share today. I had an experience on this lesson 238 in the workbook, on my decision, all salvation rest. My ego did not like that lesson or the title, and I'd been enjoying a lot of the lessons recently. And so there's a book by Pam Grout called The Course in Miracles Experiment. Have you heard of that, Linda?
Mm-mm.
It's she has a daily commentary on each lesson.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, really good.
Yeah. Yeah, and the one for today, I just wanted to read this little section. I think it's about 4 sentences. Let's see, 5. Back in the day, I used to call my friends and moan, "Woe is me, I am depressed." Now I prefer A, not to call my friends to blather on about something undesirable, and B, if I need to mention it, I say something like, I love this, what she says. She says, "My thought maker is temporarily malfunctioning."
Right.
And then there's a little more. It's really good. It says, as neuroscientist Alex Korb says, if you break your arm, you don't tell people I am broken.
Why would I need to say I am depressed when my thought maker, i.e. my squirrel brain, is just doing what squirrely brains do, running thoughts? So, God, I love that today. And it felt like such a nice lever or fulcrum or tool, you know, to just easily pry off some ego thoughts of, oh, you're just a thought maker. You know, you're not the be all and end all. You're just a thought maker. So, yes, I'm happy to get to share that today, and it's so good to get to be part of this group, being part of this. I feel it when I'm doing these lessons during the week, that being able to be part of this group and hear people in here and get to share helps me with that. You know, it's helping me get more leverage on my thought makers temporarily malfunctioning, you know, type of.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you,
I
Mary
feel
Rose.
the same way. And in fact, today I was looking forward to this call, and I thought, isn't that kind of odd that I look forward to talking to these people I've never met, I don't know, and we live in all different places, we're different, and, you know, I look forward to this more than I look forward to talking to people I actually have met in person.
Yeah.
And Linda, I credit you with a lot of that, because it's your facilitating abilities that lets that happen.
Thank you so much, Deborah. Thank you. And thank you, Mary Rose. I love that.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I'm so thrilled to share it. Thank you, Linda.
Mm-hmm. Carla, I'm sorry, who was speaking? One last share, and then we got to go.
Well, I'll share. So I don't know how you keep track of who wants to speak, 2 or 3 at 10 minutes sometimes, because I forgot for a while what I was even going to share like 5 minutes ago. But it's really has to do with the diaper thing, because I have instances where I'm incontinent a couple times, and that doesn't happen regularly though. And we give it meaning. We give everything meaning. The ego really gives everything meaning. But the second lesson is I give everything all the meaning it has for me. And what I was realizing is when we give different meanings to things, they can change how we feel about them. So say the diaper is a protection device, or actually it's such some sort of love, because everything is love, right? And so it's I don't know, because love can't be protected, but I don't know, it came to me as when I give something a different meaning. And I was gonna just do an ad for my Instagram again, is that I just said about surrender. And it's a surrender. What does surrender mean to you? Does it mean giving up or letting go? Maybe letting go of the meaning. So that's it. Thanks. Keep it short.
Thanks, Carla. All right, so next week, continuing on with chapter 18, the happy dream. Let's get happy, girls. And guys, if any guys listen later. So I'm gonna close this out with that workbook lesson that Mary Rose was talking about, lesson 238. This is from Pathways of Light, their insights from the lesson. On my decision, all salvation rests. Myself is God's son. Myself is the one self we all share. It is this self, which is love, that unites us all as one and unites us with God. Being love, this self shares God's holiness. My only decision is whether to accept this self as my identity or to choose a fake identity. This fake identity is made up and therefore cannot be united with the self, capital S, that is my reality. This fake identity is limited and weak, fearful and riddled with guilt. It sees attack and destruction everywhere and never feels safe. Its existence depends upon attack to protect itself from attack. Peace is impossible to this fake identity, for it sees itself as alone and separate from the many other identities that seem to populate its world. Belief in this identity makes it seem to be real, and the identity created by God seems unreal. But believing in this fake identity is a decision, yet is a decision that can be reversed. This fake identity ceases to appear to exist the moment it is no longer supported by belief. This salvation, the moment I release all belief in separate identities, the world is free and I remember the self God created as his son. The extension of love replaces the projection of guilt. Peace replaces conflict, and God's glory replaces a sense of unworthiness. One decision made without reservation changes it all. Belief in a separate identity has been reinforced layer upon layer. And so the undoing of this belief seems to come layer by layer. There still seems to be reservations in choosing against the false identity. Some aspects of this false identity still seem to be attractive. Gratefully, as I let go of believing I am separate and alone, the false identity is less and less attractive. More and more I realize and accept that my happiness lies in accepting that I am love and nothing else, and so is everyone. Holy Spirit, guide my vision today to see the love in everyone that I may recognize myself. Thus will I contribute to the salvation of the world, which cannot be complete while I believe there could be anything but love. Holy Spirit, help me to see that only love is real. Love extends only love. Love's extension is God's one Son. There are not a million different sons. There is only one Son, which is love. If I think I am something other than love, I am mistaken. Love is constant. Love is changeless. Because I have believed that something else was real, my job now is to refuse to support the world of dreams and malice. My job is to let these dreams go quietly down to dust. My job is to lay these dreams aside so the memory of God, the memory of truth, can return to my awareness. God is always there as I am willing to lay illusions down. Truth is true and nothing else is true. Today I am going to support illusions, or today am I going to support illusions or support the truth? God's trust in me is total. Today I practice seeing past dreams of separation to what is eternally true. Today I practice opening up to my one self, remembering I never left. Dreams are just dreams and have nothing to do with reality. Today I would practice remembering this is so. Oh, hi, Kitty. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being my answered prayer.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I was meant to be here today.
Bye, all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Thank
my
you
healing.
all.
Healing is yours.
Blessings.
Thank you. Happy birthday, Kathleen.